Okay, y'all, I just wanted to do a quick video of what we are planning to use this coming school year, the 2017-2018 school year, for my first grader. I have a little boy who'll be in first grade, and we've pretty much gotten everything at this point besides we've pretty much gotten everything that we need for our first grade year. So I was going to go ahead and make it just a quick video of what we ended up going with for our main curriculums here, just to give people an idea of maybe they're looking. I did a ton of research. Plus, we, of course, have had our kindergarten year, and some of the things we've kept the same and several things we've changed. And I'll kind of go over that. But and I'll go over kind of each individual subject just real quick. We'll start over here. For spelling, I decided to go with Spelling UC. My son is a very visual, hands-on learner, and I was really debating between this and the All About Spelling, which I'd heard a lot of good things about. We actually use All About Reading, and I love it. But I've heard this is a newer curriculum. I think it's only in the last couple years. We use Math UC and really enjoy that, and it's made by the same company. And I just think, I don't know, I just kind of thought it might be, I just wanted to try it to see. I've heard good things. I think it might be more fun and interesting for him and not one more kind of schoolish book thing that he has to do when we're already kind of he has a hard time sitting still. So I don't want to just overwhelm him. This seemed like it would be more appealing to him. So we're going to try that this year. And then this is not a good order, but that's okay. This is going to be his math curriculum. It looks like a ton because we started the Alpha, the Math UC Alpha. His kindergarten year, he did the primer, however you say it, flew through it, did it really well. It seemed kind of easy to him. He was done with it by Christmas break. And so then we started the Alpha. He's about 7 lessons into it, and there's 30 lessons altogether. So he's already, we stopped the last month or so of school and just did review to kind of just make sure he had the skip counting and stuff down pat instead of moving on in the Alpha. But, and it was getting a little trickier for him, and I just felt like he needed to just do more review instead of just moving on any further in it. So anyway, so we have that. We already had that. We're, like I said, about a third of the way, almost a third of the way through it. And we do like it a lot. I feel like it lacks a little bit, in the sense of and I had read this on review, so I was prepared for this, but they don't go a whole lot into telling time in the primer book, or primer, however you say it, which we did in kindergarten. So I had gotten this telling time, and we've gone through a lot of that just to practice. But then we're gonna continue that in first grade, and then we also got the counting coins, and we actually haven't gone over money at all. They don't talk about money at all in the primer of the Math UC. So we got that, and we got some pretend money and stuff to kind of go through that this year. So far, we haven't even gotten to any money or anything like that in the Alpha. And like I said, we do like it. I don't know. I had read more reviews and stuff, and I think I just wanted to try this Horizons. I'll show you really quick the insides so you can see the difference. The Math UC is very black and white. It's very basic. It's not, ornamental or decorated or whatever, which I kind of like. It was appealing to me. My son gets easily distracted, and I thought, okay, this might be good for him. But he does complain some that it's really boring, and he's a very visual person, where the Horizons math is very colorful and bold. And I don't know if this is going to be, distracting for him, or I don't know, but I've heard good things about it. Also, a big difference is this one, the Math UC, is a mastery, where they work on you really just mastering one thing before moving on to a new thing. But they do have review at the end of each lesson. The first few pages of the lesson are just about whatever new thing you learned about. See, so it's like the same thing. But then they'll kind of stick in some, like that would be a review for counting by fives, and the last few pages are more review. So, which is good. I'm glad they review it. Like in every lesson, they review something from the past. And if they don't, your kid just doesn't need that kind of review. They've really got it down. You don't have to do those pages. You can skip those problems. We didn't do every single page of every single lesson. If he really had something down, we just skipped it because that was just very boring for him. Anyway, the Horizons, I have not done this yet, but I've heard it's more like a spiral, I think, approach where they introduce something and then maybe they move on to something else and then they kind of go back and introduce it again. And I don't know, I think it just might be more entertaining for him and kind of keep his interest. So we're going to try that this year. Moving on, this is our reading program. We did the All About Reading for kindergarten and loved it. He's done really well with it. And he is an extremely reluctant reader. He's obsessed with books. He loves books. He sleeps with books. That's not the issue. He could have me read aloud to him. It's one of the few times I can get him to sit still for 5 seconds, and he just loves books. But he does not want to read to himself. He doesn't want to be the one that reads. He gets frustrated very easily with it. And this program has been good for him. He got through the entire first one in his kindergarten year, and he really has come a long way with his reading. So I will say some of the readers in the first one towards the end were just really long for him, and he really still kind of struggled, and we just took our time with it and tried to try not to push it, because I don't really believe on pushing reading. They kind of will get it when they get it kind of thing, and I want to keep him just more interested in wanting to learn about it on his own. So anyway, we're going to stay with this program, and I'm excited to continue on where we left off. And just to give you a quick look in the readers, they are black and white, not too distracting. And you can see they're not like, real long, overwhelming chapter books or anything like that by any means. And I know my son has really enjoyed the stories. I was a little worried looking at him. I thought, it's going to be boring. It's black and white. No, he loves them. He just wishes I would read them to him because he's slower at reading them, and it kind of can be frustrating. But he loves these books. I really like this company, and I love the style it teaches. It's been really kind of a joy for me to teach, so I enjoy that. Over here, let me get up off the floor, is his science. My kid is a science junkie. He's obsessed with all things science. Science is fun to him. He begs to do it as a reward. We have continued science into the summer, and we do it on the weekends. He just loves science. So science, we don't really have a set curriculum. I don't think in kindergarten you really need a set curriculum, and even in first grade. But I did pick up used. This is the Real Science for Kids is the publisher of this. This is the Focus On. They actually, I think, have a whole new one they just came out with where it's all combined now, and I cannot think of what it's called. But anywhere where it has like all of the subjects in one thing, and it does it by grade. The way this does, if you see at the top, it says like grades K through 4. It just does it by subject, and it is basically at that level. So it may or may not work, in kindergarten or first grade, depending on, your child's interest or whatever. My son, like I said, is obsessed with science, all things science, and he could not wait to start this. He's been begging to start it. So I'm excited about trying this. I got this used because it kind of is expensive, new, but I found this at a local homeschool store here, and we're going to give this a try this year. And I'm like, no pressure. If we do some of it, great. If we get to something we don't like, oh well. I just don't feel like science. Science is supposed to be fun and interesting and about exploration, especially in the younger years. And I want my child to retain his love of it and his interest and want to learn about it. And I feel like if you give them dry, boring textbooks, that kind of defeats the purpose. And I don't want to make it a chore for him. So, and lots of hands-on activities. I've heard this has quite a bit of hands-on activities, which I think, will be great. I'm sure he'll really, really enjoy that. So we have that. We also, just as a supplement, have the Skill Sharpener Science. We did the kindergarten one, and he liked it. It was really cute and fun, and just an extra, as we want to do it kind of thing. Handwriting. I have two curriculums. We have the Handwriting Without Tears. This is what we used for kindergarten. Love it. Love it. He did a really good job with it. We actually also had this one in the kindergarten curriculum and we didn't touch it. After looking into it, I feel like this was more like, I don't know how to explain. They used bigger letters and stuff like that in the kindergarten version than what they do in this. And he just didn't need that. I like the style of this better. We've actually gone through like almost half of this already in our kindergarten year because we flew through the orange book, which is like their kindergarten level book. He just went through it really quickly and he hates handwriting, to be honest. He's not a handwriting, but he doesn't mind this at all. So we're going to continue through this. And the reason I also bought this one is because, like I said, we're halfway through this book already. Oh gosh, we're definitely halfway through this. So when we finish this, which we will way before the end of the school year, I'm going to start this one. And what I like, why I switched instead of just continuing on with that, which I will probably pick that up again in second grade. I wanted him, this is quite a bit more writing. And what they do, I love what they do. They do a Bible verse and they practice a part of each verse each day. And then at the end, they write the whole verse. And so it's kind of like a verse of the week or whatever, a memory verse. And that's why we did it. It's because it kind of combines two things. For me, I wanted to start doing memory verses and it does both. So we will be also starting that. Okay. This is where it gets kind of like scattered, but geography-wise, we're going to start the beginning geography by Evan Moore. Heard a lot of good things about it. Like I said, I did so much research. It was ridiculous. My kid really likes maps and geography, so I think this will be a fun book to go through, and looks like there's a lot of volcanoes. He really likes those as well. So we're going to do that, and this is just going to be a read aloud, but this is like what they consider like a living book, and it teaches geography. It follows the story of a little toy or wooden canoe that, I think it starts off in Canada and it goes through on a journey and you learn a little bit about each place it goes through. And, it's just kind of a fun read aloud, a fun way to learn kind of about geography. So we do a lot of living books as much as we can. So that's why I picked that up. And this is kind of the same thing by the same publisher. So it's called Seabird. For history, we are going to follow these two things. This we did some in kindergarten. It just has different stories. It's really cute. It's just black and white, really basic, very inexpensive book I picked up. I swear, I think this was like $4 or something. And it just goes through some, of the famous stories. And my kindergartner could sit through. He thought it was interesting. So we just did a few, mostly the holiday ones this year, and we'll kind of do some more ones or this past year, and we'll do more this year. This I saw a bunch of reviews about this and picked this up on Amazon. I think it was 20 or just under 20. And it is 100 True Tales from American History. This is going to be our spine. We're going to do early American history this year. I picked up Story of the World, Volume 1, and had really hemmed and hawed about whether I should do that this year or not and start with just world history. I do think my son would enjoy the ancients and stuff. But looking at it, when I got it in person, just really looked at it, I feel like it's still a little too much for him. Maybe as the year goes on, I'll change my mind. But I also just felt really drawn to doing American history with him. He's very into American history. We actually go to Colonial Williamsburg, twice a year, and he just loves it. His favorite person is George Washington. He talks about him all the time. I don't know where he gets all of this, but he's just really into it. So we've picked up some books from the library and that kind of thing. So I'm just going to delve into this. So we're going to follow this. What it does is it goes through, it starts off in the 1500s, and it's got the Native Americans, and they're nice. They have pretty nice illustrations with them, but they're just small chunks. So this is would be one lesson, it's just these page and a half or whatever. And there's one lesson, and we're going to just and what we'll do at the beginning of the week is we'll read our one lesson. And then I have a whole bunch of books I have bought used. I did get a couple on Amazon really cheap, and library. And we're going to do those as like the fillers for the lesson. I'm going to do a completely separate video on each of what I'm calling our units that we have broken down to, because holy cow, I have so many books and resources. We have some fun craft projects and different things that go with them it would just not be good to put it on this video as well. But anyway, I have like an entire plastic tub full of stuff. So we're going to just take our time, go through early American history, just soak it in, try to have as much fun with it as possible. And then next year in second grade is my plan to start the story of the world, the ancients. So that is my plan. Hopefully this works out. I will do reviews on all of this material after we have used it for a while, probably, after like halfway through the year or something. But so far, all of it looks really good. I'm extremely excited to get into this. I'm also a history buff. So anyway, I think it's going to be a fun year. I plan on just trying to give him lots of hands-on and fun stuff. He's also, for science, going to be doing a science class at a local kids museum here, or a local science museum here. And it will be, I think it's earth science. It's like covers geography, geology, and astronomy, which he's super excited about. And that'll be one day a week for, I think it's 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours. So everything else we do kind of will just be bonus. So anyway, this is just a quick little idea of what we're going to be doing this year. If you guys have any questions about me, looking into the books further so I can give you a more in-depth review on a particular book or curriculum, let me know. And I hope this is helpful to some of you. Thanks.